Good morning, everybody. Get my rockin' music going on here. It's all good. And so, I don't know, it's been a week or two since I've done a podcast, but I wanted to get back at it and give a little follow-up. Lower the music a little bit there. And so anyways, welcome to Life's Journey of 50. I'm your host, Matt McCourt, and good to be back. Hope everybody's been well. And spring has sort of sprung, I think. If you live down south, I think it's getting a lot warmer. I know, as you know, my son's in the military, and he's in San Antonio, and I think it got up to like 98 the other day, being here in the Midwest. Easter weekend, we had snow. It was, low 30s. That's always fun. And even today, it's still really only going to be in the 60s, and I think a low of like 39, 40. So really haven't popped, so to speak. Kind of got mixed results. But, yeah, I wanted to talk because I finally went on my first adventure on my bike. Been talking about it for a while now, and had a great time. Left on a Thursday late afternoon, early evening, and it was cold. I have to tell you, it was cold. If you check out my YouTube channel, you'll see the videos from it, but it was spitting snow when I was getting ready to leave. And the fun thing about it was, well, fun if you, depending on what your definition of fun is. But so I left, and I had made a reservation at an Airbnb in Huntington, West Virginia. And yes, for those that don't believe it, there is Airbnbs in West Virginia, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was a great place to stay. It was like, it was kind of like being at maybe one of my aunt's house, a little bit older, but it was comfortable. It was super clean. You couldn't ask for a better place, at least in my opinion, and staying in some different places, but it was pretty awesome. But my journey there, I had a couple of whiteouts, and yes, I'm on my motorcycle, so you can imagine the people around me looking at me as Clarkson from what is that, the Grand Tours or whatever, that the BBC thing or whatever. He would say, "McCourt, you're a blithering idiot." So you can call me that, but trust me, I had odd looks. I had stopped it to grab a bite to eat at like a Subway or whatever, just because A, needed to warm up, and B, just to kind of take a break from all the cold weather beating me. But and that took me probably about 3.5 hours. Probably about an hour or so, about an hour, maybe longer than normal, just because of stops and just because of the conditions and stuff like that. But I made it. And so the next day I get up, and not any warmer, but sunny. I will say that it was sunny, so that kind of helped a little bit. But got up early in the morning, packed up, headed off towards Charleston, West Virginia. That's only about an hour and a half, maybe so drive from Huntington, especially where I was at. And so I'm getting there, and I'm like, I got to stop for breakfast because I got to warm up again because it's cold. It was 30 degrees, 28, 30 degrees when I left. And so anyway, stop at the good old Bob Evans, warm up a little bit. Everybody's looking at me like I'm kind of nuts. But and then I headed to Red River Gorge, or New River Gorge, not Red River. Red River's in Kentucky. New River Gorge in West Virginia. So that's probably about, I would say, 3 hours or so from where I was at in Huntington, and it's beautiful. It's the bridge was built, I think, I don't know, I'm gonna say in the 80s sometime, kind of bridging a pretty wide valley, obviously helping traffic throughout West Virginia and stuff like that. But It is high up there. And the winds were blowing pretty good, obviously both days. Actually, the whole weekend, the winds were blowing pretty brisk. And my biggest fear going over that bridge was, I want to say it's probably, I don't know. I'd have to check my records. I probably should have, but I'm going to say 2,500, 3,000 feet maybe below, So my whole thinking, it might be bigger than that. My whole thinking is that just the, big gust of wind was just going to scoop me up and throw me right off the bridge. And I do have to tell you, it was pretty whippy on there. I tried to, there's 2 lanes, in both directions, and you got, cars and semis and stuff like that. And I'm kind of trying, like, I went over, luckily there wasn't too much traffic when I was going over, and I was kind of like sitting in the middle of the darn thing just because. But you get over, and it's a nice area because you got an overview and you can kind of see into the gorge, and it's pretty cool. Excuse me. And apologize for that. But yeah, you can see into the gorge, and you kind of, do that thing. And, it's kind of like Chevy Chase when they show up to the Grand Canyon. If you watch National Lampoon's Vacation, and puts his arm around a family, bobs his head a couple times. Okay, we're out, type of thing. So, but plus I was tired, and it's cold and everything. So I decided, originally I was supposed to meet a cousin from there, and we were going to do some back trails up what's called the Elk River, and place called Sutton Gasaway, West Virginia. And my cousin earlier that morning said, "Hey, there's no way, man. We got like 2 to 3 inches of snow." And I'm like, "Oh, gee, here we go." And I had debated on whether or not head towards the Smoky Mountains and go towards like Asheville, North Carolina for the weekend, or continue my journey up and see a few relatives, folks that I haven't seen in quite a few years. And for those that don't know, I mean, not that I grew up in West Virginia, but I spent a lot of time there. My family, my mom and dad are from there, from the back hollers, as they would say. But at the end of the day, I haven't been to their grave sites. I haven't been, and they've passed away many, many years ago, but I haven't been, basically just haven't been down there. And for a few years, since one of my aunts passed away. And so, long story short, I took off, and I decided, you know what? No, I'm going to go because I need to do this. So I head to a place called Webster Springs, West Virginia, and I take the back way there. And it was a pretty long journey, but then I went up to see one of my aunts, and so I saw my aunt and uncle, and sure enough, just like typical Southern hospitality or whatever, it's, they were making dinner because one of their daughter, my cousin, was coming in with her family, and luckily enough for me, I just happened to get a nice meal and spend time with them, and it was all good. So I got to see some family members, people I haven't seen for a long time, and it was just nice to revisit, and just, you just get caught up. You talk about the old stuff, and then you just talk about kind of what's going on currently and those type of things. And it was really nice. And but on my way back, it was dark. And if you've ever driven in West Virginia, or ever driven in Kentucky, or somewhere, that's a little bit more remote, obviously there's not a lot of lighting and a lot of windy roads. And I'm talking about, grade, like you're going up and down and around and all that stuff. So, sure enough, almost hit a couple of deer going back towards what's called Webster Springs. And I stay at their motel, which, it's a motel in a small town, right? So you kind of know what you get. It's a cross between a 1 hour rental type thing. And most of you know what I mean by that, to someone actually using rooms, and people are coming to fish, or to do gaming and stuff like that. So just different, right? It's not like they have Hamptons and Marriotts and stuff like that. It's just a local place, but it's been there for years, and I'm talking probably 70 plus years. So at the end of the day, I walked in. All I can say is the bathroom and the sink area was all remodeled. The rest of it, probably 1950s wood paneling up, that type of thing. But it was fine. And for what I needed, for where I was at, because originally I was supposed to stay at what's called Holly River State Park. And it was 19 degrees that night. And I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing that. And so I could have stayed at my aunt's, but, with my cousin and her family there and stuff, I just didn't want to put anybody out. And there's probably a few other relatives I could have banged on the door and crashed, but that's just not me. If you know me, that's not who I am. So I stayed there. It was no big deal. Got up the next morning, and my bike was completely like frosted over, like, the windshield, the seat, everything was kind of frosted over. So I loaded up and head to the gas station just to get gas. It's Go-Marts, which is a pretty big brand throughout West Virginia. So stopped there. I think everybody was still looking at me pretty crazy, but it was sunny. It was beautiful, beautiful morning, but just cold. And again, if you check my video, you'll see some of this stuff. And so I get on, and I head down what's called Elk River Road, and it's probably, I don't know, maybe 15 miles or more down to where the grave sites are. And so anyway, so I head down that way, but you'll see, if you watch the videos, if you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see a couple of times where more deer I run into and that type of thing. And I did my drone flying. You'll see kind of some of that stuff. And hit the sandbar, dumped my bike there. And anyways, it was a good time. And I spent a little bit, and I actually had breakfast. There's a little pavilion right next to the cemetery, and so I actually made my own made my breakfast and stuff there, and just kind of spent a little time at the grave site. My grandparents are there, my great grandparents, a lot of aunts and uncles and stuff, and so it was just good, kind of to just visit for a moment and pay your respects and do that thing, and then but yeah, it's a lot. It's like I said, it's in the back hollers. And so I did all that. And then where I was staying that night, and the weather got a little bit better. It was probably mid 40s, close to 50. So, the weather wasn't too bad. And I was supposed to stay 2 nights in Holly River State Park. So I did. So I headed to Holly River State Park, which is beautiful. If you're ever in West Virginia and looking for a place to stay or whatever, it's a very nice state park. Highly recommend it. Facilities were great. I did camping. I had a site, but there was electric there if I needed it. There was, a shower, restrooms, facility. They cleaned, there was someone by about every 3 or 4 hours to clean it. I had a fire pit. I had fire. It was really nice. And I just kind of, and again, you can see that in the videos or whatever, and just kind of hung out. There was other people there. They were super friendly. Some asked me to come over and play, like cornhole and stuff, but I was just tired, and I really just wanted to sit down, have my dehydrated meal that I added hot water to, and just kind of hung out, smoked a couple cigars, which I haven't done in a long time, and just relaxed. I had I'd stopped at the store, picked up a 24-ounce beer. It was a Labatt Blue Light. So, it's about the most exotic beer that they had at the convenience store that was close to there. And just kind of hung out, put the tent together. Probably didn't put my tent together right, but it was a cold night. I think it probably got down into the upper 20s, low 30s. And but, I mean, for the most part, I was comfortable. I was, a little breezy, obviously, being in a tent. But I had an air mattress thing, that you blow up. And underneath me, and my sleeping bag is a 0-degree bag. So yeah, I mean, it was fine. I mean, luckily enough, I had some sweatshirt, and the biggest thing I think was the winter for me was, I had a like a beanie hat, and I had my thin North Face gloves that I wore. So that was all good. And but I had a great time. So that was on Saturday. And again, just rode around and, kind of did that thing. But so, and also on Saturday, I will say this, after I got done from there, I will add this. I did meet another one of my aunt and uncles, and and their son Kurt, and had a wonderful time at their place. Again, good to catch up with family and just to say hi and stay in touch with folks. And so anyway, so that happened on that Saturday. So it's Easter Sunday, and I got up, packed up all my stuff, and now I'm really getting into even more rugged terrain. So this is part of some of the back road discovery routes of the Mid-Atlantic. And so I'm heading out of Holly State Park, and I'm heading up towards basically the corner of West Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. And so I'm going the back, taking these back roads, and it's pretty rugged, and I had to tell you, not doing this stuff for such a long time. And I'm on a big bike. I mean, this bike that I have is pretty rugged bike, but it's big, it's heavy, and just a lot of stuff. And so I take off, and I'm following kind of my mapping and GPS stuff, and there's some things that I did that I was surprised at myself. Like there was a couple of inclines where it's all gravel and stuff like that, and I was really nervous about slip sliding and maybe bike going out from underneath me type of thing. But, I made it all through there and stuff like that. And you can see that on the videos, especially on part 2. But so I get to a section, a lot of water, a lot of mud, and I tried to split the gap between 2 puddles instead of probably just going through the puddle and being done with it. Back end slid out from underneath me. I went down. I hit my, I hit pretty hard on my shoulder and stuff like that. It was pretty good. Like I said, if you see the second video, you'll see where I was at. But I had to turn around there and kind of go to a different section, because there was just so much mud and water, and because of the snow, and obviously it's early spring, and anyways, and I'm by myself too, which obviously makes everything a little bit more like, okay, you got to kind of check yourself. You got still have a daughter at home, still got things to do. Don't need to be having sending up an SOS signal, which I would say I have a Garmin Inreach, which is a device because obviously I don't have cell service in a lot of these places, and my plan covers like X number of text messages that I can send from my Garmin Inreach, like, hey, I'm okay, or I need help, or whatever. And then also it has an SOS button that will send up a signal every 10 minutes to emergency responders that, like I'm down and I can't find help or whatever. And it'll either survivor vehicles will try to get there, or maybe life flight, and I have insurance for that as well. So I have thought about this because I am traveling by myself. So in case something does happen, I have a capability to reach someone in case something seriously happens. But on my new bike also, I broke the auxiliary light. I just got a replacement bracket. Thank God I didn't break the light, because I think the light's about $200, $300 or whatever. A little bracket's like $45. And but anyway, so I make it out of there, and then I end up in Canaan. I think it's Canaan Resort or Canaan State Park in West Virginia, and like I said, it's up towards that tip, and very nice. It's got ski slopes there, and I took some photos. You can see the snow with the slopes and stuff in the mountains, and nice. I mean, I had a fire, but there's hardly anybody there, so I was really kind of by myself in this one section. There was one camper, but nobody was there, and it was Easter Sunday. I'm sure that they were gone. They went back home or something like that to be with family for Easter, and so I'm by myself, but I, gathered wood, had made a fire, and got my tent. It was really super windy, and it wasn't too bad spending the night there, but it was cool because it was beautiful setting. You can see by my drone footage, there was the sunrise the next morning, but then you can see the sunset over top of the mountains, and it was nice. It was real nice. It had a shower facility as well, and that always is good. At least you can pop in there and get a nice warm shower, and kind of feel at least semi kind of civilized. But yeah, so that was kind of my first experience. And then obviously on Monday, I rode all the way back. It took me about 7 hours or so in the saddle, and it was windy. There was there was a section through West Virginia for probably 2 hours or so that it was super windy, and it blew me pretty good. I mean, moved me a little bit. And then it's obviously windy going through the mountains, but it was a great experience for my first time out. Really taught me some things that I needed to pack, not needed to pack. And at the end of the day, it was a great, like I said, it was just a great experience. I had time to just think about stuff and kind of, things like that. And it was fun. So if you get a chance, check out Life's Journey at 50 on my YouTube channel. I've got part 1, part 2. Part 1's a little long. It's about 14, 15 minutes. I probably could have cut it down a little bit, but there was a lot that happened in that first 3 or 4 days, 3 days or so. And then part 2 is only about 5 or 6 minutes, much more digestible. I mean, I know people are busy and you can skip through, the 15 minutes, but there was just a lot. I probably should have skinnied it down even more, but at the end of the day, it was good, and it gave me a sense of kind of an opportunity just to kind of relax, get my thoughts, and think about just life stuff, and it was good. And I've talked a lot about what is life's journey, time, friendship, stuff like that. I'm going to talk about another one here. I'll probably maybe post it tomorrow or so. I want to talk about, continuing a little bit of that theme, but I wanted to get back and kind of tell you my first adventure. And then I'm heading out later on this month, and I'm actually going to the BMW off-road school for a couple of days, which will be cool too, because at the end of the day, learning some techniques, learning how to handle the bike and that stuff a little bit more than obviously being a rookie. But, I thought I did pretty well, other than, going down that one time pretty good. But outside of that, I thought I did pretty well for the adventure, and it's been great. Again, still love the bike, still love the whole process. Really just kind of, enjoying this. And but yeah, I'm going to talk a little on the next one, probably, a subject that, I think is important, but it's just about life and how things change, and whether it's good, bad, or ugly, and how we deal with it. But I think that's going to be my next thing. And then obviously I'll continue to keep doing these, but I wanted you to know that I had a great time. If you saw the videos, thank you again. Just like this, thumbs up, subscribe. Hopefully you're enjoying this, and just my wackiness of my journey in my life. And I will say this, my ex, Cindy, she's all concerned. She just doesn't want to have to, have bad news or whatever, and she gets all wigged out about it. And my daughter constantly is trying to call me and stuff, and that stuff's rough, because when I'm gone and I don't have cell service or can't have contact, I don't get a chance to, because my daughter doesn't understand why she can't get a hold of me. So, I get like 30,000 messages and stuff, but it's all good. And so, and I've got other folks that, are thinking about, my travels and telling me to be safe. And it's good because you have a network of folks that are still concerned and care about you. And that's always a good thing for anybody. And so, but again, it was great. Thought I'd catch you up on my first true bike adventure. Some more to come down the pike. And I hope everybody's having a great week. It's a hump day. It's a Wednesday. Tax season's here, right? I mean, it's what today is the 14th. Tomorrow is tax man. And hopefully nobody has too much to owe them. So, because they definitely do take a lot of money from us throughout the years. So anyhow, thanks for stopping by Life's Journey at 50. I'm your host, Matt McCourt. Podbean, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Amazon. Take care. Have yourself a wonderful rest of the week. Hopefully this coming weekend's a great weekend for you. And look forward to coming back. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.